Hi, I'm Ben Greenlees and you're watching Greenlees Art. Enjoy this video of me drawing Pikachu. Alright, so let's draw this Pikachu character. And to start off, I'm going to draw a couple circles, one for his head and the other one for his body. They both are kind of connected and overlap each other, but the key is drawing them super loose and light, just so you have some sort of framework to build off of for the rest of the drawing. It's kind of key, especially in cartooning, to draw in these circles because a lot of characters are like Pikachu here is a round character, a round shaped character, so it's really helpful to have all these circles pre-drawn in real lightly, so when you go in to make your harsh lines and finish up the drawing, you at least have the roundness and the lines when you make the darker harsh lines to finish the drawing, that they're actually all kind of congruent and all match up with each other and make sense. So here I'm just throwing in the arms, the ears, and everything else on top of it, but just helps to lay out some groundwork, and don't be afraid to draw everything super light and quick, and then go through at the very end and darken it up. But in my opinion, I feel like it's easier to just work fast, work quick. Try not to spend a whole lot of time on any one area. Just work the whole entire drawing very, very loosely and very, very lightly. And if you do it a bunch of times, finally one of the lines you drew will probably be the line you want to make permanent, and then you can actually just darken it up later. So even drawing the face here, I drew in a couple really light lines to get the right angle for the eyes to be on and the nose to be on and the mouth to be on, because they're all going to be on the same line that the character is at. And since the character is kind of jumping out at you and at a little bit of angle, the whole face itself will be at that same angle. So it's important to keep everything matching everything else. So here I start drawing the cheeks and the eyes, and I'm making sure they're all on the same plane. And it's kind of important to make sure you're doing everything loose at this point and really light, because at any time you can take a step back, and I found taking a step back and looking at my drawing, I can see if I have any proportions wrong. Another good tip would be like taking a picture of it, or even flipping it and looking at it in the mirror. A lot of times, or looking at it upside down, help. But so when I looked at this picture, I noticed his eyes were too small, so I ended up too big, and I erased them and I made them a little bit smaller. And then I noticed his mouth seemed like it was just a little too high, so I lowered that. But don't be afraid to erase. In these beginning stages, it's kind of important to keep everything kind of loose, and that's what I did here. I just kind of kept everything super loose, and finally, once I get to the point where I feel like the whole character is coming in and I got enough guidelines in, I'll start darkening up some lines. But here I'm just adding the tail and a couple other components. But once I have the whole character kind of sketched out like I do here, that's when I'll come in and just make everything kind of permanent. So once I get to the point where I'm at right here, I usually switch to I'll try to switch to a different marker, or in this case or ink. In this case, I use 6B pencil. I like using 6B pencil. It's a little darker lead. You don't have to press it down as hard to get as dark of a line, and it shows up well. and I feel like it's really smooth. Plus, you can still erase it. Where if you're using one of like the Copic pens that are by my hand there, you put a mark down with those, they're not coming off anytime soon. So you gotta, if you use a 6B pencil, you still have some freedom to erase. And so that's what I did with this drawing. I went through and made every line that I had done before. I finally made it all one like harsh line and dark line. It made the stroke confident because I had a line in from before, and it was easier to make that confident stroke. Even here on the feet, I'm kind of doing a little bit of chicken scratching, but I try to stay away from that as best I can. Try to make all one smooth motion, but you never get away from the chicken scratching. If it's something you learned doing, and it helps, but the smoother the line is, at least for the finished product, the better it is. So it's just something practice will make perfect, and that's the thing, is you're always going to get better. So maybe the next time I draw Pikachu, I'm more confident, but in the lines that I lay down. If I drew them a couple thousand times like the animators do to get an animation done, I'm sure I wouldn't even need the circle guidelines, maybe even to just draw the Pikachu. But if it's a character you haven't drawn a lot, you might want to take some of these tips I'm giving you to put in guidelines, to go light, to draw in your frame of references, making the lines for the nose and the eyes, so everything's on the same plane. And don't be afraid to erase and make mistakes. It's gonna happen. And even with this drawing that I did, I made the mistake of when I went to color it in. And the 6B pencil is great for making the outlines, but if you're coloring something in yellow, yellow is such a light color, it likes to pick up the pigment of the pencil or pigment of stuff. So what happened when I started coloring it in here is the 6B pencil, it actually made the marker color muddy in some areas because the marker would pick up on the pencil and smudge it a little bit. So for this particular drawing, it might have been better off going with ink, but in the whole scheme of things, I'm just trying to learn how to draw Pikachu and draw him for you guys. So I feel like a little bit of smudging doesn't matter. You guys hopefully will have better luck when you draw, and learn from my mistakes. So my mistake was to use the 6B pencil and then color it in. If you're just doing the drawing part, 6B pencil is great for shading, great for everything. I love using 6B pencils, but sometimes it's not the best option, especially if you're going to use color markers. And so that's how I drew Pikachu. I hope you liked it. Thanks for watching.